Hi everybody, welcome back to DayZ and welcome to the patch note for the brand new experimental update 1.26, which has been released today on the 6th of August 2024, and this is the harbinger of Frostline. We're getting some things coming to PC and console that are showing us what's going to be included with the new Winter Island map, which will be coming hopefully a little bit later in the year, but maybe it's not as far away as we think. So Xbox experimental and PC experimental are probably live now if you fire up your PC or your console. Unfortunately, there isn't a version of this for PlayStation, but it will be coming to public servers in due course. Normally it's about between 2 and 4 weeks depending on how many bugs there are in it. So in this particular video, what I do is I read through the patch notes to give you an idea of what there will be, and then later on I'll do a different video where I'm actually on a server and I'll show you the things, so we kind of go hands on. So here we go. PC experimental 1.26 update 1. Added, here we go, the brown hare, the red fox. Yes, these aren't just things that you will find in traps. These will be wandering around Chernobyl and Livonia. New animals. The wolf trophy headdress. So if you kill a wolf and you chop it up, you'll get a wolf hat that you can put on. The shamag, which is like a headdress thing. The fishing jig. Now I think this is it could be a spelling mistake, we're not quite sure. So the fishing mechanic is going to change, whereby instead of just sort of sitting by the sea or by a lake or a river with your fishing rod and your hook, and then you may well get something, you might not. There's like a mini game where you've got to look for like the ripples, and then you pull your line in, and then you'll have hopefully caught a fish at that point. I think that's what that means. Or it could be, and I'll have to test it, that you can put your fishing rod on like a stand and then go off and, I don't know, cook some fish while you're doing it. I'm not quite sure, but we're going to have the wooden fishing hook, so so that you can make a hook out of a stick. Consuming scorching hot items now slows consumption and causes damage, so you've got to wait for things to cool down before you eat them. It is now possible to climb onto edges while swimming. Should make some previously inaccessible areas accessible. Authentication for official game servers. I guess it's probably to stop some hackers and cheaters on PC. Some items can now freeze if exposed to low temperatures. So that's going to be interesting. What I'll have to do on the test server is take the temperature right down. I guess it will be thing like cans of drink will probably freeze, I would have thought. Maybe food. We'll see if they take it to that Namalsk level. Grass now bends under animals and infected. Terrain and object visibility settings. Now this is for PC. I'm not sure whether we're going to be getting that on console. We will have a look at the console patch notes as well. In-game server browser now verifies all official servers before displaying them. In-game server browser can now filter for maps. In-game server browser now allowed sorting for maps in separate column, so they're going to make the launcher a little bit more usable. Now let's scroll down to changed, because this has got lots of important stuff. Reworked character heat comfort and how it's influenced. Rebalance the insulation values of most clothing items, so we're going to have to learn how to stay warm and dry again. Rename bad insulation to worst for better understanding. Yeah. Reworked fishing action and its chances, including audio and particle effects. Let go of left mouse button to reel in a fish when caught. Fishing bait is no longer crafted but an attachment of the hook. So you won't combine a hook and a worm. I guess you'll just put the worm onto the hook. Slightly rebalance the nutrition values of fish. Eating raw fish now causes food poisoning instead of salmonella. Worms are now stackable. That is something that I've called out for many years. Worms should be stackable. You can now get multiple worms at once with certain tools. So I guess if you dig with a spade, you'll get more worms than if you dig with a knife. Reworked the common cold into stages. Added pneumonia. Oh, happy days. Coding pills and morphine now suppress the common cold and influenza symptoms. To tackle animal predators being an easy source of food for highly geared players, we have infected predator meat with a disease. So I think that's a really good update that, isn't it? Because what would normally happen is you get attacked by a pack of wolves, and if you've got a decent weapon or you stand on top of a car, you can kind of kill them all, and then you've got so much meat, where now let's eat that meat from a bear or a wolf is going to make you ill. All edible items can now be added to cooking pots. All edible items can now be heated up to warm up the character when consumed. Tweaked water gain from food items. Decreased gain from cooked items. Remove rough and precision soft skills. All right, so they've gone. Firewood can now be stacked up to 3 times. Tweaked the minimum and maximum temperatures of items. Players now gain temporary immunity to the cold after beating it or any of its later stages. And by the cold, they mean the disease, a cold, not being cold. So, yeah, sounds quite good. The flare gun ammunition now spins slightly on descent. Active range snowfall now decrease the hearing of infected. Snowfall. Force feeding is now only possible when facing the player. Sitting in a vehicle with a running engine will now set your character's heat comfort to neutral. Heat packs cool down over a longer period and give drastically more benefit. About time. They used to run out too fast, didn't they? Traps now require bait and might catch different animals depending on the bait. So if you put a bit of fruit in, that's going to be different to you put a bit of meat in. Traps now play a sound when they caught an animal. Traps in water do not play a particle effect when they caught an animal. Reduced damage taken by traps on catch. Increased chance of catching animals via a trap. That's good. If you don't know about these, there's a snare that you can craft, and then there's 2 different types of fish traps. One is like for catching really small bitters, I think they call them, which you make out of a bottle, and then using a net you can catch big fish. Reduced time required for traps to catch an animal. Significantly increase the weight of animal pelts. Train detailed video settings are now hidden and set to one value that corresponds to the multiplayer settings. We'll have to check what that is in for console. Optimize the world loading for respawning players, PC only. Reduce the AI alertness for pistol shots. Strongly reduce the AI alertness from shots of the Sporter, because it's a 22. Heat buffer plus symbol now shows progression on the HUD, and its behaviour has been slightly altered. Reduce the size of the cargo on most jackets, pants and vests. So I think the idea of this is that you won't be able to put guns, large guns, into your jackets, pants and vests anymore. Adjusted the inventory size of various items. Many continuous actions have now their camera view angle limited to the general area where the action is conducted. So what you used to be able to do is when you were, say, crafting something in your hands, in first person view, you could spin your head completely around, which is always a bit silly. But also, in third-person view, say you're taking a drink at a well, you used to be able to look completely around you as you were drinking. From what I understand is now, you won't be able to look behind you when you're drinking, even in third-person mode. It's not possible to construct garden plots below certain environment temperatures. All right, so once the ground freezes, you can't grow things. Churnerous changed morning fog behaviour. There is always morning fog around the coast and in the low altitude valleys. The density is randomised, but it can be too thick sometimes. Okay, fair enough. Wind direction speed is giving clues about how the upcoming overcast will be. Large scale rebalancing of clothing items and firearms. Livonia, we've got morning fog. There can be a morning fog, which is on the river and around its bed. Livonia now has sudden overcast changes. The sudden change always ends with bad weather, and the duration of it shorter compared to normal overcast changes. Wind direction and speed is giving clues about how the upcoming overcast will be. Change default date reset interval move from August-September to July-August, so it's going to be warmer. Large scale rebalancing of clothing items and firearms. So we've got loads of fixed stuff. Server. There we go. Workshop folder. Okay. Oh, that could be interesting. Workshop folder now no longer gets created if the launcher is running in the Proton operating system. If you've got a Steam Deck, that might mean that mods now work on DayZ on your Steam Deck. Interesting. Added launcher now verifies all official servers. Modding. Here we go. So this will apply to console as well. Added, items can now freeze. Support for snowfall. Reindeer. What? Didn't say that before. Heavy metal poisoning. That's if you eat snow. Let's have a look. There's some specifically PC stuff. The vertex limit in single P3D model has been increased from 32,000 to 65,000. So I think this is important for people who make stuff, because it means that things can be more complicated. Right, there we go. Terrain builder, added template library fielding. Okay, so yeah, so many brilliant things that we've seen in there. Let's just quickly jump over to the console one, just have a look. So brown hair, red fox, wolf trophy headdress, shemag, fishing jig, wooden fishing hook, all that's the same. Description field for servers, I didn't mention that, did I? So that's really good. So now you can have, so you don't have to have your description in your title, there's a separate box, so you can say 3 times boosted loot server with more zombies or something like that. This is our Discord address. Support for stick dead zones, excellent. So go down, changed, central economy. It's all the same. Yeah, so there we go. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. A real preparation. It's going to be interesting to have a look at these new animals, I think, and this new freezing mechanic and the new fishing mechanic. It's going to be interesting looking at this fog on Chernobyl and Livonia. The reindeer, we're going to have to spawn some reindeer in because it said it was there, didn't it, as well? Yeah, very good. As you can see, this is a preparation patch before we get Sakal, the winter map that's coming, hopefully, sooner rather than later. But very, very exciting. 10-year-old game, still we get an update. So look out for fairly soon. As soon as the servers get updated, I'll do a hands-on with experimental update 1.26 so you can actually see what some of these changes look like in anticipation of them coming to public servers. Okay, that's enough from me. What do you think? Put your questions and comments down below, and of course, I'll see you again soon.